and welcome to a special episode of Ask a Librarian with Everybody Wins DC. My name is Miss Aryssa, and today we're celebrating Pride Month. Do you know what Pride Month is? Pride Month occurs in the United States each June and is a chance to uplift the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer people around us, and to remember the work that went into and goes into securing civil rights for LGBTQ people. You may not know what some of these words mean, and that's okay. Books are a great place to learn about people who may not be like you. In some of the books we're going to talk about today, you can learn about these words and find out what it means when someone says they are gay or transgender, and you can read stories about their lives. If you have any questions, as always, be sure to ask a trusted adult. It is okay to have questions. That's how we keep learning our whole lives. We also keep learning by reading. And today, in celebration of Pride Month, I want to recommend 3 picture books, 3 middle grade books, and 3 young adult teen books to read this Pride Month or year-round. They all feature LGBTQ characters and topics. Remember, not every book about LGBTQ people has to be about struggles and hard things. We all deserve to see ourselves represented in happy books too. Let's start with some picture book recommendations. First up, we have Heather Has 2 Mommies. Some people have a mommy and a daddy. Some people have just a mommy or just a daddy. But in this book, we meet Heather, who has 2 mommies. This is a sweet tale all about how every family is a little bit different. Next up, we have Rainbow, a first book of pride. This fun, short book is all about the colors of the rainbow and the pride flag and how they represent all the ways that LGBTQ people live and interact in the world. We can learn about how we all work together in this short book, and we learn how these colors manifest in the real world. Next up in picture books, we have What Are Your Words? In What Are Your Words, we learn all about pronouns, which are words that we use to identify ourselves. For example, I use the pronouns she, her, hers. So if you're referring to me, you might say she is a librarian. But my friend may use the pronouns they, them, theirs. They are a librarian. In What Are Your Words, we all learn about why people use different pronouns, how we can ask what pronouns they use, and why it's so important to honor them. Next up, we have 3 middle grade novels that are great for emerging readers who are in late elementary school or older readers who just love revisiting these age groups. First up, we have a classic, Drama. If you love contemporary graphic novels, you've already heard of Raina Telgemeier. One of her best graphic novels is Drama, and it's all about a girl, Callie, who gets involved with a theater production at her school. She gets to know her fellow thespians, including LGBTQ classmates, and find her own voice. Next up, we have The List of Things That Will Not Change. This is a great middle grade novel by Rebecca Steed, all about Bea, a girl dealing with the aftermath of her parents' divorce and the changes that bring about. When her dad reveals that he and his boyfriend are getting married, she is so excited to finally get a sister. But as the wedding day approaches, Bea learns all about the new changes and the things that aren't going to change that are coming down the pipeline. And finally, in the middle grade category, we have another graphic novel, Jo, an adaptation of Little Women, sort of. Graphic novel lovers will enjoy this modern adaptation of Little Women that focuses on Jo, an aspiring journalist who joins her school newspaper, and, of course, in the meantime, she's dealing with her 3 sisters, her father's deployment, and questions about her own sexuality and who she likes. You don't have to have read Little Women to enjoy this graphic novel, though. And next up, we have young adult books. These are great for older middle schoolers or people in high school and beyond. First up, we have She Drives Me Crazy. This is about a high schooler named Scotty who plays basketball. She gets into a minor car accident with her arch nemesis, Irene, a pretty mean cheerleader. In an attempt to get back at her ex, Scotty and Irene start fake dating, and we all know how that usually goes. This is a great book for teens who enjoy reading about sports. Next up, we have a fantasy novel called Cinderella is Dead. If you want a fantasy with LGBTQ characters, this one is perfect. Sophia, our protagonist, knows that she can't marry her best friend Erin because of the patriarchal norms of this society, which hold an annual ball in the book for men to come and pick out a bride. And they know that isn't right. So she teams up with some other strong women to decide to overthrow this and seek true love and true happiness. And finally, we have How Not to Ask a Boy to Prom. If you want a heartwarming teen rom-com all about prom, first loves, crushes, and siblings trying to push you out of your comfort zone, you'll love this book. Nolan, our protagonist, who is 16, gay, and very single, plans to just ride out the rest of high school quietly without making any scene, but his adopted big sister has other plans for him, and that includes going to prom. Thank you so much for joining me for today's Pride Month edition of Ask a Librarian. As always, be sure to ask a librarian near you if you have questions about great books to read. You can also, if you have questions for me, email communications@everybodywinsdc.org, and you could offer the next theme for an Ask a Librarian episode. Thank you so much for joining us, and keep reading.